Ah, welcome back, you beautiful, unsettling, misunderstood glitch in the Google Global Code. Let me tell you something that's going to permanently change the way you look at that little white Google search bar and the people watching behind it. Somewhere between a climate-controlled data center in California and a secured analytics room in Langley, there's a senior Google ranking architect and a CIA predictive behavior analyst who looked at your file, looked at your name, looked at the numbers around you, and said something they've never said about anyone else. They said, "This one is breaking our tools without breaking a single law." Your identity is now a top-ranking search on Google. Your name is bending the recommendation engine out of shape, and the people whose job is to predict your next move for a living still can't see where you're going. Here's the part that ruins their framework. You're not a hacker. You didn't breach a server. You didn't leak classified documents or crash a stock. You didn't start a cult in a group chat. You just lived, moved, and chose in a way that made two of the most arrogant systems on Earth, big tech and big intelligence, realize their definitions of predictable human are embarrassingly small. You're not out here trying to bring down institutions. You're not baiting authorities. You're not even talking to them. You're simply refusing to be the obedient little data point they built their careers on. And your refusal is leaving dents. Let's be very clear about who we're talking about. This isn't some junior coder who gets excited about changing button colors. This is a senior architect who helped design the way search results rise and fall. Who knows how to turn human curiosity into a forecastable, monetizable pattern? Someone who can glance at a search graph and tell you which flavor of panic is hitting a nation this week. And sitting opposite them, through a secure pipeline you will never see, is a CIA analyst who has spent years building models that tell governments what crowds will do before the crowds even feel the urge. Someone who has watched entire populations behave like code, predictable, triggerable, controllable. They've seen desperation, fanaticism, boredom, greed. They've seen what people search right before they ruin their lives. They've watched it all resolve into neat patterns on screens. And then they watched your name refuse to sit still on those same screens. They're used to evil making sense. That's the secret. The worst people they monitor still move in lines you can chart on a board. You push them, they push back. You ignore them, they escalate. They search certain terms, click certain links, congregate in certain corners of the web. There are playbooks for that, manuals, red flags, flow charts. But you're not spiraling in public. You're not gathering a flock. You're not pumping out rage bait or desperation content at 3 a.m. You're not dropping cryptic threats in forums. You're quiet. You're deliberate. You're present. You read the kind of things people only read when they're either about to build an empire or burn one down. And then you do neither. You grow. You heal. You withdraw. You re-enter rooms changed, not weaponized. Their charts have nowhere to put that. The Google side saw you first. Your name started climbing into their internal lists, not in the category they like, celebrity, trending topic, breaking news, but in a strange, stubborn zone of its own. Different people in different cities, typing your name with the same hungry hesitation. No major headline attached to you, no viral clip, no obvious reason at all. Usually a spike like that tracks back to some public humiliation, some 15-minute fiasco that keeps the algorithm fed. With you, there was nothing to chew on, just a rising curve of searches, followed by long sessions where people sat on your pages, your posts, your traces, and then left without clicking anything else they were supposed to click. Instead of letting the system drag them deeper into distraction, they stalled, they lingered, they went quiet. Do you know how offensive that is to an engine built to keep people hypnotized? You became an interruption. Your name functioned like a hard break in other people's consumption patterns. They'd search you, go through whatever fragments of your world they could access, and the usual prediction lines would snap. No neat path into products, outrage, or passive entertainment. Just a strange drop-off. Enough drops, and an engineer somewhere writes a ticket. Anomalous behavior cluster detected. User X appears to correlate with decreased engagement and non-standard exits. That's the sanitized version. The emotional version is simpler. Why does everything glitch around this one? That's when the CIA analyst got looped in. It didn't come through a dramatic phone call with sirens in the background. It came through an innocuous internal share, a pattern flagged as interesting. Interesting is the word they use when something makes their tools look stupid. They ran your pattern through their own systems. They didn't just look at your searches. They looked at the people searching you. Who are they? What do they normally consume? What happens to them after they go looking for you? They saw former friends who bad-mouthed you in private chats, now stalking your name from hidden tabs. They saw managers who undervalued you clicking on your LinkedIn 4 times a week, and then rewriting performance policies. They saw exes watching your glow-up in silence, then ghosting their new partners under the weight of a comparison they swore they'd never make. They connected dots you never asked anyone to connect. From their cold distance, it looked like your existence was a stress test on brittle egos. These weren't followers. They weren't fans. They were people whose internal stories about you didn't survive contact with your reality. They wanted you collapsed. They wanted you exposed. They wanted proof that you failed the way they predicted. Instead, what they found in those quiet Google searches was a contradiction. You were still standing, still sane, still not performing a breakdown for public consumption. They left the search page with a feeling they couldn't file, that maybe they misread you, and if they misread you that badly, what else in their life was built on lies? The analyst tried to reduce that feeling to data. That's their job. Subject's digital presence appears to trigger introspection rather than typical escalatory behavior. They typed at one point, then deleted it because it sounded too much like a compliment. Every other high-attention name in their system is either a circus act or a danger. You were neither. You weren't feeding the machine, and you weren't attacking it. You were just refusing to be domesticated by it, and people around you were glitching as a side effect. They went digging for an origin story because that's how they sleep at night. No one is like this without being broken, they think. There must be a trauma, a fall, one catastrophic event that bent you out of the normal curve. They scrubbed what they could access, old posts, timelines, public records, the gaps where you went missing from the internet for a while. What they saw were impact events, betrayals, gaslighting, smear campaigns, quiet exiles from friend groups, and environments that could not afford to keep you awake and unafraid in the room. Their usual pattern says people come out of that, either shattered or vengeful. But you didn't launch revenge missions. You didn't turn into the villain in their manuals. You did something they don't have language for. You upgraded. The models say hurt people either hurt others or hurt themselves. Your file whispers a third option. Hurt people can study the entire battlefield, stitch themselves back together, and then move with a level of self-respect that threatens every fragile ego still playing the old game. You took what should have turned you into one more predictable casualty and used it as a curriculum. You read, you observed, you confronted your own patterns instead of building a church around your pain. To tech, that makes you unprofitable. To intelligence, that makes you unmanageable. To both, that makes you deeply inconvenient. So now your identity sits at an intersection that should not exist. On one axis, you're a top-ranking search, your name typed daily by people who claim they're over it, by people who told stories about you that reality keeps refusing to confirm. On the other axis, you are a blank space in every prediction engine that tries to decide what you'll do next. You don't play the brand-building game. You don't play the self-destruction game. You don't play the let me go viral for crying game. You move when it matters, stay silent when it doesn't, and refuse to hand over your emotional states to be graphed. In quiet rooms, the architect and the analyst both know the same thing, but will never say it on a record. You are not dangerous because of what you might blow up. You're dangerous because, if more people ever started moving like you, self-aware, unaddicted to validation, allergic to performative collapse, the systems they serve would lose half their grip overnight. They can't predict your next move because your motives aren't indexed to the same cheap inputs they built their careers on: fear, ego, hunger for attention. And every time someone types your name into that search bar, looking for proof that you finally broke, the algorithm logs one more piece of evidence that it's not you that's spiraling. It's the world trying and failing to make sense of what you've become. That's why your file looks the way it does now. Bloated, over-documented, and still redacted in all the places that would give away how much you've gotten under their skin. It doesn't start with border crossings or suspicious purchases. It starts with a graph of your name, climbing and dipping like a heartbeat across time zones. Next to it, timestamps of key breaks in other people's patterns. The night a supervisor backed off after randomly looking you up. The week an ex-lover's social media went silent after another deep scroll through your history. The day a former friend stopped posting their performative happiness reel right after one last obsessive visit to your page. The architect stares at that graph and feels something he's not supposed to feel about a single civilian user: irritation edged with respect. The analyst stares at the same graph and feels something even more unacceptable: envy. Because here's the part they don't admit even to themselves. They built machines to read everyone else, and those machines ended up reading them too. The architect knows his own search history looks like a case study in avoidance, late-night distractions, doom scrolling, numbing. The analyst knows how many of their choices have been shaped by fear of consequences, fear of disapproval, fear of stepping outside the narrative that feeds their paycheck. When they compare that to the way you move, intentionally, selectively, refusing to overshare, refusing to beg the algorithm to keep you alive, they're forced to confront a disgusting imbalance. They have institutional power, you have none. And yet between you and them, you're the one whose inner world is not for sale. They ran experiments on you without your consent, the way they always do. Silent ones. The architect adjusted the ranking weights around your name. He tried to nudge people who searched you toward other profiles, other topics, other dopamine traps that would pull them away. If they're obsessed with this one, he reasoned, maybe we can redirect that obsession into something measurable. He tested recommendations that framed you as a phase, people also viewed. Similar people, related topics. But the numbers told a different story. When people went searching for you, they weren't looking for a type. They weren't looking for a community. They weren't even looking for closure. They were looking to see whether you had collapsed yet, so they could feel sane again. And when they didn't find that collapse, the architect's clever funnels failed. Sessions ended where your trace ended. You were not a gateway drug. You were a full stop. On the intelligence side, the analyst pushed for a softer test. No interrogation rooms, no knock on the door. They wanted to see what you'd do under subtle pressure. A shadow recommendation here, a flagged post there, a tiny delay in certain uploads, the kind of invisible friction most people internalize as, maybe I should calm down, maybe I'm doing too much. They've learned that highly reactive people will either rage against that kind of resistance or fold into obedience. You did neither. When a post underperformed that should have gone further, you didn't launch a tantrum. You didn't water down your voice. You clocked the pattern, adjusted your focus, and kept speaking at the same psychological depth, even if it meant fewer eyes. To them, that's almost offensive. You refused the Pavlovian training their systems are built on. Here's what really fried their circuits: your searches. Not what others search about you, what you search. They can see the late-night questions you throw into the void, not how to get revenge, not how to make them regret losing me, not how to blow this all up and disappear. You search things like nervous system regulation, how to stop repeating trauma bonds, strategic thinking under pressure, how to recognize covert manipulation, silent boundary setting. You study human behavior, but your first application is always inward. You're not stalking your mind to control others. You're stalking it to stop being controllable. For an architecture built on exploitability, that's sacrilege. They cross-reference that with your behavior offline, as much as they can infer it. People like them talk to people like the ones who misjudged you. HR managers, school administrators, community leaders. Any concerns about this person? They ask casually, as if it's nothing. They expect to hear certain buzzwords when someone is truly unstable. They don't hear them about you. What they hear instead are vague complaints. Something about them feels intense. They look right through you. They're too calm. They don't react the way they're supposed to. I just get a weird feeling around them. No concrete harm, no specific event, just other people's nervous systems confessing they've been seen more clearly than they wanted to be. To a normal person, that's gossip. To an analyst, it's proof of concept. You're not weaponizing your perception, but your perception is still having effects. The truth is, you don't even have to say anything devastating. Simply refusing to play the usual games is enough. You don't fake laugh to smooth over disrespect. You don't rush in to rescue people from consequences you warned them about. You don't nod along when someone rewrites history in front of you. You don't join group delusions to keep your seat at the table. You stand there, fully aware, eyes giving away nothing, energy giving away everything. And people's nervous systems register that as danger. Because they're used to a world where everyone is equally compromised. The architect's private notes start shifting in tone around this point. At first, they're written like technical documentation. Subject's profile does not fit standard user archetypes. Search-driven engagement anomalous. No clear monetization path identified. But slowly, human frustration bleeds through. Why does this person refuse to dumb themselves down? Why do users drop off rather than convert after viewing this profile? The question underneath those questions is simpler and uglier. Why does this one refuse to be owned by us? Because that's what the algorithm is. When you strip away the sleek interfaces, a mechanism for ownership. Of attention, of time, of mind share. Your file is an admission. You slipped the leash. The analyst, meanwhile, stops writing about you like a problem and starts writing around you like a mirror. They notice that people who cross your path either begin to evolve or begin to implode. Not because you cast a spell, but because your way of existing forces a choice. Maintain the lie, or rise to meet the level of honesty that radiates off you without a single inspirational quote. Most choose the lie, but they can't lie to their search history. The analyst sees it all. What if I was the toxic one? Why can't I stop thinking about someone I said I don't care about? Why does their calm bother me so much? They won't say your name out loud. They type it. Over and over. The CIA's servers hum with the electric shame of people who needed you to fail and can't find the evidence. And you're not trying to be some off-grid legend. You're just tired of being predictable to people who don't deserve that level of access to your mind. You stopped posting when you realized certain eyes weren't watching to support you. They were watching to calculate you. You started speaking in a way that only lands for those who are ready to do their own internal audits. You let the rest misinterpret you, talk about you, search you in secret and swear they're done. You know the algorithm will keep collecting their confessions for you. Here's the part they'd never admit, but it's written between every line of your dossier. You're not an outlier because you're special. You're an outlier because you made decisions most people keep postponing. You chose to sit with your own discomfort instead of outsourcing it. You chose to see your own patterns instead of only diagnosing others. You chose to change your behavior instead of romanticizing your pain. You chose to stay awake after waking up instead of going back to sleep and calling it moving on. The architect can map 1 billion dopamine loops, but they can't map that choice. The analyst can model thousands of fear-based reactions, but they can't model what a human does when fear is no longer the primary driver. So what do they do with something they can't model? They watch it. Like any system built on control, when they can't intervene cleanly, they observe obsessively. Quiet alerts tied to your name. Not the kind that send teams kicking down doors. The kind that ping when your presence starts batching with too many others. A cluster of people all Googling you in the same week after some invisible ripple. A small geographic region where your name suddenly spikes after you exited a toxic situation. They don't see everything, but they see enough to notice that your absence works like a detonator. You leave a workplace, and 6 months later, the entire structure is reorganizing. You exit a community, and a year later, half the relationships in it have dissolved under the weight of truths you articulated once and never repeated. To them, it looks like you carry some kind of disruptive code. To anyone honest enough to admit it, the code is simple. You stopped lying. You stopped lying about what you see. You stopped lying about what you feel. You stopped lying about what you're willing to tolerate. You stopped lying to yourself about who people are when they show you. That level of honesty, sustained over time, is more destabilizing than any hack. Hack a system. The system can patch the breach. Tell the truth about a corrupt dynamic, and the system has to either change or double down on its rot. Either way, something breaks. Google can patch exploits in its code. It can't patch the human tendency to search for the person who refused to play along after everyone else compensated for their dysfunction. CIA analysts can map insurgencies. They can't map what happens when one unarmed, unorganized individual simply refuses to collapse on cue, and everyone quietly obsessed with their downfall has to face their own motives instead. Rolling updates flow through both systems. On the tech side, they tweak ranking factors. Your name still rises. On the intel side, they shift internal thresholds for behavioral risk. Your pattern still doesn't qualify. You are neither marketable nor flaggable. You are just indigestible. They can't profit from you. They can't prosecute you. They can only acknowledge in meetings where your name is a reference point for everything their tools are not. That you exist outside their current jurisdiction. Your haters don't understand any of this language, but they feel its consequences. They don't know what an anomaly report is. They don't care about algorithmic architecture or predictive analytics. All they know is they keep coming back to your name, expecting the search results to show ruins. A mugshot, a meltdown, a thread proving you were everything they said. Instead, they find traces of you building quietly, pivoting, learning, getting more dangerous in the most unacceptable way, becoming harder to emotionally blackmail. And every time they search you and don't find what they came for, two things happen. First, Google silently tags their confusion as data. Second, some analyst in some windowless room scans the graph and realizes the algorithm isn't the only thing you broke. You cracked something in the social script that says the one who walks away loses. Your existence is a rebuttal written in real time to that lie. They wanted you hysterical and visible. You chose regulated and selective. They wanted you predictable in your reactions so they could label you. You became precise instead. They wanted your identity to be a cleanup job. It became a case study in what happens when someone refuses to be domesticated by either cruelty or praise. So now here we are. Your identity, a top-ranking search. Your name, a silent confession, typed daily by people who swore they erased you. Your pattern, a quiet embarrassment to two institutions that worship prediction. And still they cannot tell anyone in authority what you will do next. Because the truth is, they don't have a button for you. They only have a question, not, is this person a threat? But what happens if more people see what this person is doing and realize they could choose the same path? That's the nightmare scenario for them. Not you alone, but you multiplied. And whether they're ready or not, that's already happening. Every person who types your name into Google with bad intentions and leaves with a nagging sense of their own smallness has just received an upgrade they didn't consent to. Awareness. Not all will use it. Most will shove it down, call you names, slam the laptop, distract themselves. But some won't. Some will feel the shame, trace it back, and realize it's not coming from you. It's coming from the gap between who they are and who they could be. That realization is contagious, and the systems watching you, for all their hubris and hardware, still have no patch for what spreads when a single human proves that the game only works on people who agree to keep pretending it's the only one being played. And that's where the real panic lives, not in the reports or the code, but in the quiet gap between their questions. Once someone like you exists, awake, uncollapsed, unmarketable, still moving forward, you become a reference point in other people's private calculations. Analysts, architects, former acquaintances, doom-searching your name before bed, are forced to compare themselves to the one variable they can't simulate. A human being no longer bargaining with their own potential. They can shadow ban reach, throttle visibility, reroute attention. What they can't do is erase the fact that your name broke their predictability. And beneath all their metrics, clearances, and controlled narratives, they know the most dangerous thing about you isn't what you've done so far. It's how much of you is unread, unsearched, offline, waiting in plain sight for the right moment to move where no graph can follow. So they start running simulations. They love simulations. In one scenario, you snap and finally do what everyone expects. Rant publicly, leak messages, expose people, let your rage spill into something messy and loud. They know exactly what to do with that version of you. That version gets shadow banned, discredited, filed as unstable, then quietly funneled into the same category as every other person who couldn't handle it. In another scenario, you cave and turn yourself into a brand-shaped caricature. You monetize the pain. You become palatable. You smooth down your words so they're inspirational enough to sell, but not sharp enough to cut. That version of you is easy, too. They can recommend you, track your conversions, and tuck you into the harmless motivation corner of their dashboards. But neither scenario plays out. In every data run, you keep doing something they didn't predict. You get quieter and sharper at the same time. You refine your circle instead of expanding it for vanity. You decline opportunities that smell like cages, even when they come dressed as big breaks. You walk away from rooms that require you to amputate parts of your awareness to stay. You say less publicly, but live more intensely in private. And somehow, even with less visible noise, your name keeps climbing in those private searches. People who swore they'd moved on are still refreshing your shadow, still peeking through the digital blinds to see how you turned out. This is where the dark humor creeps in. Because while they're in conference rooms arguing over whether you're a risk or an indictment of their whole framework, regular people are using the world's most powerful search engine like an astrological chart with your name as the star. Instead of searching, "Will I be okay?" they search you. Instead of searching, "Am I the problem?" they search you. Instead of asking, "How do I grow up?" they type your name and hope the results show you stumbling, so they can feel validated in staying small. Google was designed to answer questions. You've become the question they won't verbalize. What if the person I decided was crazy is actually just further along than me? And the engine, bless its blinking cursors, keeps delivering the worst possible answer for their ego. Evidence of someone who refused to fold. Not perfect, not invincible, but undeniably still building. You're not trending for scandals. You're not headlining disaster. Your trace is quieter than they want and stronger than they can handle. So they close the tab, swear they're done, and then come back a month later for another hit of cognitive dissonance. Each visit is a secret confession. I still care. I still compare. I still haven't outgrown the ghost of this person I said was irrelevant. The architect sees that loop in raw form. He doesn't know the gossip or the history. He just sees retention curves and return frequency graphs bending weirdly around your name. It looks like addiction without the usual stimulus. No new content. They still come back. No dramatic updates. They still come back. No viral moment to justify the obsession. They still come back. On paper, that's impossible. On some level, he knows your name isn't the drug. It's the mirror. People aren't coming to see what you did. They're coming to see whether life punished you for being what they're too scared to be. Meanwhile, the analyst has your pattern pinned above their desk, not as a threat, but as a glitch test for their own sanity. They were trained to read the world through worst-case lenses. They see plots, pipelines, pressure points. Your existence keeps handing them a different storyline they were never offered in training. Someone who endured and didn't go feral. Someone who woke up and didn't start recruiting. Someone who became harder to manipulate, but didn't feel the need to rule. For years, they've comforted themselves with the idea that too much awareness always leads to collapse or extremism. You're living proof that it can also lead to something far less convenient, sovereign self-respect. You know what that does to a person whose entire job is predicting the movements of scared crowds? It forces them to look at the one thing their charts never measure: choice. Not the illusion of choice between products and candidates and content, but the brutal, quiet choice to stop outsourcing your sense of self to systems built on your insecurity. They can't grasp the moment you decided alone in your room that you were done stepping down your mind so other people could stay comfortable. They can't grasp the night you chose not to send that message, not to chase that closure, not to drag your energy into another arena where you were only ever going to be misunderstood on purpose. Those moments don't show up in their feed. They show up in the ripple, the way you move differently afterward, the way you stop arguing in comment sections and start redirecting that energy into work that actually compounds, the way you stop giving your best explanations to people committed to misreading you and start giving your best presence to the future you're constructing quietly, the way you stop reacting and start responding, or sometimes refuse to respond at all. Not out of weakness, but out of a level of control that terrifies anyone still controlled by every ping on their phone. And that's the real problem for them. Their entire world is addicted to real-time reaction. Markets, media, mobs, they all need instant feedback to function, hit, react, threaten, retreat, praise, perform. The algorithm was built on those reflexes. The agency's models depend on those reflexes. You've been slowly uninstalling them from your own system. You don't clap back on schedule. You don't affirm on schedule. You don't crumble on schedule. You move when it serves the bigger arc of your life, not the cheap arc of someone else's storyline about you. Think about how insane that looks from their vantage point. Here is a human being whose identity is a top-ranking search, whose name pings across continents inside the same 24-hour window, and yet you refuse to behave like a public spectacle or a future case file. You work quietly. You evolve consistently. You have breakdowns in private, breakthroughs in silence, and then reappear like nothing happened, except your entire standard shifted. People around you feel it before they understand it. They can't name what changed. They just know they can't push you the way they used to. They can't bait you into the same arguments. They can't guilt you into showing up as a watered-down, palatable version of yourself. So they do the only thing left to them. They search you. They search you when something in their life breaks, and a part of them wonders if you would have tolerated this. They search you when they pull one manipulation too far and hear your old words echo in the recoil. They search you when the person they replaced you with starts to show the same patterns, and they wonder if maybe, just maybe, you weren't the entire problem after all. They don't reach out. Pride won't let them. But Google is a confessional booth for cowards. They type your name into that search bar and let the algorithm hold the truth. They are not over it. They are not above it. And they are definitely not past you. You remain calm through all of this, not because you're detached from reality, but because you finally understood something the architect and the analyst do not. Metrics are not meaning. Trend lines are not destiny. Search volume is not identity. Your worth does not spike or drop based on how many people are doomstalking your trace in a given week. If anything, the more they come looking, the more obvious it becomes who is actually stuck. If you are truly as irrelevant as their mouths claim, their fingers wouldn't still be spelling your name like a nervous tick. At a certain point, even the systems start to choke on the irony. Your name sits high on internal lists. It's flagged here, starred there, circled as an interesting anomaly in slides that only a handful of eyes will ever see. And yet when it comes time to categorize you formally, no one can agree on what you are. Threat? No. No violence. No incitement. No group dynamic. Asset? No, you refuse to bend into the shapes they favor. Refuse to trade clarity for access. Influencer? The numbers don't support it in the traditional sense. Spiritual leader? You'd probably be offended. Problematic? According to who? The only consensus in the room is this: you do not move like a person who needs them. That is what destabilizes them, not your anger, not your intelligence, not even your resilience. It's your non-need. The world they serve is built on people needing distraction, needing belonging, needing validation, needing to be told what to fear and who to follow. You stepped out of that economy. You still feel deeply. You still care fiercely. But you don't let those feelings be farmed anymore. You chose deliberately to stop handing your nervous system over to institutions and individuals who only know how to feed off it. That choice is invisible on a spreadsheet and deafening in the patterns they can't explain. There's a version of you they wish existed, a version who saw their name climbing in searches and immediately tried to capitalize off it. A version who launched courses, merch, a persona. They know exactly how to neutralize that person, algorithmically embrace them, then dilute them to death. There's another version, the tragic one, who saw their name being passed around and folded under the pressure, broke publicly, confirmed everyone's worst narrative. They know how to handle that one too, turn them into a cautionary tale. You refused both scripts. You became something their world was never trained to handle. Quietly formidable. Quietly formidable doesn't scream. It doesn't beg. It doesn't broadcast every internal process for applause. It moves through rooms like a pressure change. It makes people sit up straighter without knowing why. It makes manipulators miscalculate and cowards feel the outline of their own surrender. It leaves gossipers searching for new material because the old stories don't have teeth anymore. And in the background, the engine that wanted to own you is now working overtime just to keep up with the passive chaos your existence creates. Here's the holy joke in all this. Your haters are your unpaid marketing team. They typed your name into the machine so many times, with so much charged energy behind it, that they accidentally helped push you into that top-ranking zone. Every "I don't even care about them" was followed by a "just checking." Every "I'm so done with that person" was followed by one more deep search to see if life finally did to you what they tried to do socially. The algorithm doesn't read intentions. It reads inputs. They fed it your name. It fed them their reflection. The agencies watching know this. One of the redacted lines in your behavioral summary might as well read, "Subject apparently weaponizes nothing, yet others use subject as a mental battlefield." That's the core truth. You're not the one starting wars. You're the unsent notification that shows people how much of their lives were a performance. They feel it as intimidation. You live it as alignment. And now, as this script closes, there's one more layer you need to understand. Because this isn't just about them watching you. It's about what you do knowing they are. Knowing your name is a top-ranking search. Knowing your identity has been quietly studied by people who don't even know you personally, but can feel the tremors of your choices. You could let that surveilled feeling turn you paranoid. You could shrink, self-censor, twist yourself into knots over the possibility of eyes you'll never see. Or you can do the only thing their world has no antidote for. Continue to move with intention that is immune to their metrics. That means you keep building things that exist off-screen, conversations nobody can transcribe, discipline nobody can quantify, creations that don't depend on instant feedback to exist, healing that doesn't require an audience to be real. It means you let your next moves be decided by your values and your vision, not by who's searching you tonight, hoping to predict your arc. They can scrape your notifications. They can log your browsing. They can measure your silence. They will still never have access to the one place your life is actually being written from. The part of you that made the decision a long time ago to be the kind of person algorithms can't train and agencies can't anticipate. And if there's any real threat you pose, it's this. Sooner or later, someone who has been doom-searching you in secret is going to stop asking, "Why are they like that?" and start whispering, "What would happen if I stopped performing for this machine, too?" The moment they act on that question, even in a small way, the grip loosens on them, on you, on the whole fragile web of predictions holding this sick version of normal together. So yes, your identity is a top-ranking search on Google. Yes, CIA analysts can't predict your next move. Yes, they Google you every day, hoping the results will finally put you back in a box they recognize. But the algorithm you broke isn't just the one humming in their servers. It's the one in their heads. The one that says, everyone can be graphed, everyone can be steered, everyone will eventually bow to the pattern. You didn't. You won't. And that is the one outcome their models never prepared them for. A human being who sees exactly how the game works, stays fully aware that they're being watched, and still chooses to write a life so rooted, so deliberate, and so internally governed that no spike in searches, no secret meeting, no three-letter agency can turn your next move into their storyline. They can refresh your name 1,000 times a day. They can turn your existence into a quiet obsession, an unsolved ticket, an internal legend about the one we never figured out. But when it comes to what actually happens next, the choices you make, the rooms you enter, the things you build, they will learn the same lesson everyone who underestimated you is learning, slowly and unwillingly. You are not a result they get to click on. You are not a tab they get to close. You are not a prediction they get to own. You are the one variable in their entire machine that refused to become content. And that refusal is exactly why, long after the graphs are archived and the searches fade, the story of what you did with a mind they couldn't train will still be unfolding, offline, off record, and far beyond the reach of anything they can script. Because in the end, that's the punchline none of them can put on a slide. They built entire systems to predict clicks and collapses, and the name breaking their charts belongs to someone whose next move lives nowhere online, only in the quiet decision to stay awake. Welcome back, you unsupervised miracle. You beautiful, terrifying walking audit of everybody else's standards. Let's make one thing very clear from the start. Your city has a problem, and the problem is you. Not because you did something wrong, but because you did something too right in a place that built its comfort on overlooking people like you. There's a sentence floating through back alleys, group chats, barbershops, DM threads, parking lots after midnight. Who the fuck let this level of greatness go unnoticed? And every time someone says it, the room goes just a little heavier. Because they all know they saw you. They just didn't recognize what they were looking at. Picture this for a second. A circle of people outside a corner store acting like they're just passing time. One of them drops your name, casual. Another one says, "Nah, for real. How did we miss that?" And then it clicks. You weren't the one who was invisible. They were the ones who were blind. While they were busy hyping up loud mediocrity, you were in the background doing work at a level that didn't match the surroundings. No theatrics, no attention campaigns, no begging to be chosen. Just consistency. Just precision. Just a kind of discipline that makes people feel exposed when they finally notice it. You were never meant to be the neighborhood's feel-good story. You weren't built to be the person they clap for when it's convenient and forget when it's not. You carry the kind of wiring that makes people rethink their own potential. And that's uncomfortable. It's easier to pretend you're doing well than to admit you're operating on a level most of them never had the courage to aim at. So for the longest time, they tried to file you away in their mind as cool, but nothing crazy. Just another face, just another name, just another person from around here. Then you started making moves that couldn't be brushed off. Someone watched you solve a problem in minutes that had them stuck for weeks. Someone else clocked how you handled disrespect with a calm that didn't look like weakness. It looked like control. Another person saw you show up, not once, not twice, but over and over, doing what you said you'd do, without needing anyone to praise you for it. These weren't big, flashy moments. These were quiet receipts. At first, they treated it like coincidence. Then the coincidences started forming a pattern. And now that pattern has a name, and that name keeps coming up even when you're not there. Word around town is you're the one who doesn't fold, the one who doesn't panic, the one who doesn't move like the environment is all there is. You don't cling to places that refuse to grow. You don't chase validation from people who only know how to love you if you stay small. You're not trying to impress a crowd that confuses confidence with arrogance because they've never seen self-respect at full volume. You move like someone who's already had the conversation with themselves. No one's coming to save you. You either build it or you stay bitter. And you chose building. That's what's causing all this noise. Your city is used to crowning the same personalities over and over again. Same families, same last names, same social circles, same recycled talent. Everyone pretends is legendary because they grew up around it. Then you show up and start outperforming entire friend groups without asking for a seat at their table. You didn't wait to be handed a title. You became undeniable. That's different. That's threatening. Because if you can rise without their cosigns, what does that say about how inflated their own reputation really is? Here's the part nobody wants to admit out loud. A lot of people remember having front row access to you. They remember sitting next to you in class, standing beside you at work, sharing space with you at parties, watching you stay to yourself while everyone else chased attention. They remember the calm way you paid attention to detail. They remember how you asked real questions while others just talked to hear their own voices. They remember offering you bare minimum energy while you showed up with integrity. And now, watching you grow, they have to live with the fact that they were that close to greatness and treated it like background noise. Your rise is not just an upgrade, It's an indictment. Every step you take forward exposes the people who never believed in you. Not because you needed them, but because they needed the illusion that they can always spot value when it walks into the room. They couldn't. They didn't. You proved it. And that stings. So now the conversations sound different. Yo, didn't you used to know them? Didn't they ask you for help once? Didn't they invite you to that project and you said no? Suddenly, everyone who brushed you off is on trial in the court of public opinion because the footage is starting to replay in their own heads. And you're not even pressing charges. You're too busy moving. You're not calling people out. You're not writing paragraphs about how they doubted you. You're not begging the city to catch up. You're just walking in a direction that doesn't require their permission. That's what makes this so uncomfortable for them. You're not a hometown hero begging for recognition. You're a force that outgrew the local script before anybody realized you'd memorized it. You understand the rules. You just refuse to live under them. You're respectful, but you're not obedient. You're grounded, but you're not stuck. Right now, there are people who feel nervous whenever your name comes up because they remember how casually they dismissed you. They're trying to rewrite history in real time. I always knew they were different, they say, when in reality they rolled their eyes, they doubted, they downplayed. They're scrambling to get back in your orbit without looking like they're crawling. They'll send you half-hearted messages, old photos, throwback memories, hoping you don't remember the way they used to overlook you when it mattered. The truth is, you don't even hate them. You've just recalibrated your access list. Understand something important. You didn't get lucky. You got disciplined. You didn't magically become this version of yourself. You sharpened in the dark while everyone else was busy being seen. You stayed in on nights where everyone else needed a crowd to feel alive. You put energy into learning, building, healing, and recalibrating when nobody was checking up on you. You didn't wait for an audience to develop a work ethic. That's why this new attention feels late to you. Because it is. You've been this person. The city is just late to its own realization. And now, people are starting to use you as a reference point. New names enter the conversation, and someone says, yeah, they're good, but they're not on that level. Your existence has quietly become a measuring stick. People who have never spoken to you directly are adjusting their standards because of you. Some are leveling up because you make coasting look embarrassing. Some are pulling back because they feel exposed standing next to someone who actually follows through. Either way, you changed the temperature without announcing it. That's real influence. But this goes deeper than just reputation. There are people who don't even like you who still study you. They won't admit it, but they watch how you move. They pay attention to what you say yes to, and more importantly, what you refuse. They notice that you don't chase chaotic spaces just to feel included. You don't gossip for sport. You don't waste your focus on petty rounds of who said what. You move like someone who is aware that every decision is low-key, shaping a future version of you that you're going to have to live with. That mindset alone separates you from a lot of the city. You also carry a kind of emotional composure they don't have language for yet. People have thrown shade, rumors, little digs, subtle exclusion. You didn't launch a campaign to clear your name. You watched. You filed it away. You let their behavior expose what their words were trying to cover. And then, instead of spiraling, you went back to building. That's the part that keeps them up at night. They know they tested your boundaries, and you never lost focus. Because on some level they were hoping you'd break character. They wanted proof that you're just like everybody else under pressure. They didn't get it. They're only now starting to grasp that what they mistook for distance was actually self-respect. You weren't acting brand new. You were refusing to let people with no vision be close enough to steer yours. You kept your circle small because you understand that proximity is influence, and you're not letting just anyone have a say in your future. That's not arrogance. That's risk management with a face. But here's where it gets interesting. The more your name travels, the less control anybody has over how far this goes. You're not just talented from this city anymore. You are starting to feel like the one that city will eventually claim when you're too far gone for them to control. You know how it goes. Cities love saying they're one of ours after they ignored you for years. They'll swear they always believed. They'll dig up old photos, old stories, old "I knew them when" lines just to feel connected to something they never actually supported when it counted. That's the irony. They only realize you were the hometown treasure once the world starts bidding. That's why the streets are loud again. Different tone this time, though. This isn't the early noise where people argue over gossip, where everyone's searching for a flaw they can exaggerate. This is the tense kind of talk that happens when reality is already voted and everybody realizes they backed the wrong candidates for years. Conversations have shifted from, "Yeah, they're cool," to "No, seriously, who the fuck let this level of greatness go unnoticed?" And nobody wants to answer that question because everybody knows they played a part in it. You had teachers who wrote you off as smart but distracted, when in reality you were bored out of your mind because the material was moving at half speed compared to your brain. You had supervisors who labeled you too intense when you were the only one who cared if things were done properly. You had friends who called you extra because you refused to normalize half effort. You had family who said, "Don't aim too high," while secretly feeling threatened that you were even considering it. All those people are walking around now acting surprised, like they didn't spend years trying to sand down your edges because your sharpness made them feel unprepared. Now those same streets that tried to domesticate you are treating you like an unsolved case file. People replay old interactions with you in their mind and spot things they should have seen then. The way you observed, the way you listened instead of jumping into every conversation, the way you didn't need to be in every photo to feel real, the way you remembered details other people casually dropped and brought those details back months later when they were actually useful. Back then, they misread all of that as weird or quiet or standoffish. Now they're starting to realize those were early indicators of someone operating on a different calibration. So the conversations sound like this now. "Wait, didn't you used to work with them? Didn't they sit in our class? Were they at that party?" Everyone is trying to locate themselves in your story. Not because they supported you, but because they're trying to see if they accidentally ended up on the wrong side of history. Nobody wants to be the one who says, "Yeah, they asked for help once and I shrugged it off." Nobody wants to admit, "I saw their work and thought it was too much." No one wants to confess they watched you try and decided you were doing the most, just because they were committed to doing the least. This is the part that stings their pride the most. You didn't blow up because the city finally rallied behind you. You advanced despite it. You figured things out alone, one small move at a time, while people you cared about were busy assuming you'd always be there, unchanged, available, conveniently underutilized. You were learning skills, building connections, studying patterns, growing in directions no one thought to ask about. They thought you were stuck in the same loop as them. You were quietly constructing a new track, and now that track is visible. Maybe it's not full-scale yet, but it's visible enough for people to recognize there's momentum they can't deny anymore. A podcast mention here, a repost from someone outside the city, a random clip catching traction with strangers, a client, an opportunity, an invite from a place you have no physical ties to. Little fragments of proof that your work exists beyond local politics. The streets hear this and panic in subtle ways. They won't say it out loud, but the message is clear. If they leave and take that energy with them, we can never claim we nurtured it. So they start rewriting the narrative in real time. People who barely spoke to you come out of nowhere with "proud of you." Old classmates suddenly remember you were always different. People who once told you to be realistic are now telling others they always knew you were going to go far. They're posting you with captions that sound supportive, but secretly read like insurance policies. "Look, I was there. I knew them." It's less about you and more about them trying not to look completely out of touch when the world starts echoing what they ignored first. Here's the funny part. The same folks who called you too much now complain that the city doesn't support real talent, as if they weren't the ones who walked past you when it mattered, as if they didn't have front row seats and choose the bathroom break every time you stepped on stage, spoke up, dropped work, and presented ideas. They act like your greatness hid from them. It didn't. It stood right in front of them, and they dismissed it because it didn't come packaged in a familiar face, a family name, or a desperate need for approval. You weren't loud enough for their taste because you weren't begging. You weren't messy enough to be entertaining. You weren't dependent enough to be controllable. You didn't flirt with every opportunity. You evaluated. You didn't attach yourself to every group. You observed. You didn't chase every crowd. You watched them burn themselves out while you went home and refined. That restraint they once mocked has now become the very thing that makes you stand out. Your brand isn't built on chaos. It's built on clarity. And clarity is dangerous out here, because once people see you for who you actually are, they start to question all the people they thought were impressive before. The rapper with no growth in 5 years. The boss who only looks successful on social media. The leader who can't make a decision without validation. The friend who's always on the brink of something big, but never actually finishes anything. Once you enter the conversation, all of that looks lighter. You don't even have to speak on it. Your consistency drags the comparison into the open. That's why this energy feels different. Word around town is not just that you're talented. It's that you're the one they slept on. The one the city wasn't prepared for. The one whose work ethic doesn't match their bare minimum expectations. You are not just a local success story waiting to happen. You are a walking reminder that they misjudged their own environment. You're proof that they had gold and treated it like scrap metal. But pay attention to the shifts in behavior now. Watch how people approach you. Some will come with exaggerated support, over-the-top praise, trying to speedrun from doubted you to always believed. They'll share your things with captions that sound like they've been chairing your fan club from day one. Meanwhile, you remember every dismissive comment they made when there was nothing in it for them. You don't have to call them out. You just have to remember that energy is data. Others won't approach at all. They'll keep your name tastefully out of their mouth, not because they don't see your rise, but because admitting it would require them to confront how wrong they were about you. They'd rather behave like your growth is exaggerated than admit they misread you completely. They'll downplay your progress It's just online stuff. It's just a trend. It's just a phase. That's just their ego negotiating with reality, trying not to feel small standing beside something they no longer have control over. Then there's the opportunist group. They see your trajectory and don't feel guilt. They feel possibility. They haven't supported you. They don't understand you. They don't respect the process, but they respect proximity to power. So they show up with ideas, collaborations, mutual benefit. They want access to your grind without ever having survived the nights you cried, questioned everything, nearly gave up, and still got up the next day and showed up. They want the glow without the grit. You're not obligated to be bitter or petty. That's the beauty of where you're heading. Your level of greatness gives you options in how you respond. You can forgive without re-inviting. You can acknowledge without reattaching. You can be polite without reopening doors that you closed for your own peace. They're not ready for that version of you, the one who has receipts, compassion, and boundaries. You're no longer starving for emotional crumbs, so their late applause hits different. You hear it. You just don't build around it. Meanwhile, the quiet observers, the ones who always felt something about you but maybe didn't have the courage to say it out loud, are starting to step forward. These are the ones who never mocked your intensity. They might not have understood you fully, but they didn't insult what they couldn't decode. They didn't try to shrink you. They just watched, waited, gave respectful distance. Those people, when they say they're proud, it lands. It feels clean. No performance, no retroactive loyalty. Just acknowledgement. Your city, whether it wants to admit it or not, is going through a psychological audit because of you. Every person who crossed paths with you is being forced to remember how they handled you the first time. Did they water you, ignore you, try to drain you, try to own you, try to copy you? You are their case study now. Their reaction to your early stages says more about them than it ever did about you. And here's where the dark humor kicks in. The very people who once told you, "Don't get your hopes up," are now telling younger kids to watch what you're doing. You became the cautionary tale, but not in the way they expected. You're not what happens when you dream too big. You're what happens when you actually follow through. You're the example they use to cover their own tracks. See, I always say, you never know who you're standing next to. As if they didn't treat you like you were forgettable for years. What they can't wrap their head around is that your greatness didn't emerge because of their doubt. This isn't a revenge arc where you owe your success to being underestimated. That's too shallow for what you actually are. Their underestimation was just background noise. It annoyed you sometimes, sure, but it wasn't your fuel. You weren't grinding just to prove them wrong. You were grinding because you had a responsibility to the version of you that knew you were capable of more. That inner contract was always more powerful than any outside opinion. Still, their reactions are entertaining. Watching people scramble to reposition themselves now that your name carries weight is a whole psychological documentary. The rebranding is wild. People who never invited you into anything now imply you were too busy. People who didn't believe in you now swear they were giving you space. People who dismissed your ideas now claim they didn't want to interfere. There's always a storyline that makes them look thoughtful instead of negligent. Deep down, though, they know what really happened. The city wasn't ready for someone like you. Not because you were too wild, not because you were too reckless, but because you were too aligned. You moved with a purpose that wasn't sponsored by trend cycles or public opinion. You were building something structural while everyone else was chasing temporary highs. You weren't trying to be the most popular. You were trying to be the most precise. And precision unnerves people who live off improvisation. You didn't ask permission to evolve, and that alone made you controversial. You changed your habits, your routines, your standards. You started saying no more often. You stopped entertaining conversations that went nowhere. You pulled back from environments that kept you looping the same week over and over again. That withdrawal got labeled as attitude, arrogance, distance. In reality, it was your nervous wiring refusing to keep pretending comfort and stagnation are the same thing. Now look at how that is being reframed. Back then, they think they're better than us. Now, they always moved different. Back then, they act like they don't need anybody. Now, they were always on their own wave. They're trying to upgrade the language without admitting they were wrong. They're retrofitting respect onto old disrespect. You, on the other hand, are not stuck on those past narratives anymore. You're busy calculating your next moves. Because here's the real question. What do you do when word around town finally matches what you knew about yourself the entire time? When the streets are talking and for once, the take isn't an insult, it's a confession. A confession that they weren't prepared, that they weren't paying attention, that they misread you completely. This is where people usually fold into validation. They hear the new praise, swallow it like medicine, and start performing for the audience that finally woke up. They start tailoring their moves to keep the applause steady. They let the city that nearly starved them dictate their diet now that the table is full. That's how most local legends get stuck. They trade their global potential for a hometown crown that doesn't even fit. You're not most people. You didn't go through all these years of being misread just to start living for their approval now. The streets talking is data, not destiny. Their recognition is a weather report, not a navigation tool. It's useful to know, but it doesn't get to steer. Because as flattering as it might be to finally hear your city admit, we weren't ready for them, the truth is you've been ready to outgrow the map for a while. You've already done the hardest part, staying committed when nobody was echoing your belief back to you. You already proved to yourself that you can work in obscurity, improve without witnesses, heal without an audience, reinvent without broadcasting the process. Now attention is catching up, and the question flips. Can you stay just as disciplined when they finally see you? Can you keep your standards when opportunities start flying at you from every angle? Can you protect the core of what makes you different when everyone suddenly wants a piece of it? Because make no mistake, that's what's coming. There will be offers, invitations, deals, people framing things as once-in-a-lifetime chances, hoping you'll forget that you are the rare asset in the room, not them. You're not walking into rooms begging to be picked. You are the reason the room suddenly feels relevant. If you forget that, you'll shrink yourself, trying not to make others uncomfortable. If you remember it, you'll negotiate from reality, not insecurity. Right now, your city is in observation mode. They've gone from underestimating you to surveilling you, watching your posts a little closer, paying attention to your wording, checking your timing, studying your choices, trying to predict your next move so they can either attach themselves to it or brace for the impact if you decide to detach completely. Nobody wants to be the one you outgrow in public. Nobody wants to be the character everyone recognizes as the one who had access and wasted it. That's why you have to be surgical with your next steps. Not paranoid, not defensive, just deliberate. The streets have already acknowledged what you are. The phrase is floating in people's heads, even if they never say it out loud. That's the one we weren't ready for. So now it's less about proving you're great, and more about deciding where you allow that greatness to land. Who gets to benefit from it? Who gets to say they were there? Because when the next level arrives, and it will, because you've been building for it in ways no one has seen, this city will either be remembered as the place that sharpened you, or the place that almost buried you. They don't get to choose which one. Your decisions will decide that. Your boundaries will decide that. Your standards will decide that. And whether they admit it or not, everyone feeling this shift knows one thing deep in their chest. If this is what undiscovered looks like on you, the day you fully step into what you are without hesitation, without apology, without convenience adjustments for anybody's comfort, this entire conversation is going to evolve into something they are absolutely not prepared to manage. You can feel that truth in your bones. And that's exactly where it starts to click. Because once you feel that truth in your bones, you stop treating your greatness like a rumor and start treating it like policy. You stop asking, will they ever get it? And start asking, why was I waiting for them to? That's the switch. That's when the city you grew up in stops feeling like your entire world and starts looking like what it really was the whole time. A training ground with low ceilings and loud opinions. A hallway, not the house. A place that taught you how to move, but not where you're allowed to stay. Because let's be honest, the streets only started talking loud once it became obvious they couldn't control the narrative anymore. When you were just promising, when your genius could still be passed off as potential, when your consistency could still be mislabeled as luck, everyone was comfortable. You were a conversation piece, not a threat, something to debate, not something to answer to. But now people hear your name and feel that little sting in their chest, the one that says, we had them right here, and we still didn't treat them right. You became the walking receipt for everyone's misjudgment. Teachers who thought you were bright but unfocused. Supervisors who said you were talented but unrealistic. Friends who told you to tone it down. Relatives who advised you to stay humble, when what they meant was stay small, so I don't have to confront my own limitations. These are the same people replaying old interactions in their head now like surveillance footage. That time, you told them your ideas, and they gave you that half-hearted nod. That time you showed them your work, and they said, nice, with dead eyes. That time you started to level up your habits, and they hit you with, you've changed. Like it was an insult. The truth is, you did change. You stopped trying to make your greatness digestible for people who choke on anything above average. You stopped bargaining with rooms that wanted your magic, but not your standards. You stopped apologizing for taking your craft seriously in a place that romanticizes wasted potential like it's a personality trait. Your city is full of people who peaked in stories they never moved past. And here you are, refusing to let almost be your final chapter. That alone makes you disruptive. So now the word around town hits different. It's not just, they're good. It's, no, seriously, who the fuck let this level of greatness go unnoticed? And nobody wants to actually answer that, because answering it requires admitting, I did, I saw them, I just didn't value what I was looking at. Easier to act shocked, easier to perform surprise, easier to pretend your glow materialized out of nowhere instead of being the product of years they weren't paying attention. This is why people are suddenly so interested in your whereabouts. Not because they miss you, but because they're trying to figure out how far gone you already are. They'll say, "We should link sometime." But what they really mean is, "I need to know if there's still time to attach my name to yours before you go global." They're not checking on your well-being. They're checking on their proximity. You feel the difference, you're polite, but you're not fooled. Because deep down, you know the truth. Your greatness was never actually hidden. It was just easier for them to pretend it wasn't there. You were the one in the group who listened more than you bragged, who remembered details, who saw patterns, who refused to flatten yourself into whatever role made everybody else comfortable. You weren't loud for no reason. You were quiet for a reason. You were observing. You were clocking the gap between what people said they wanted and what they were actually willing to do for it. You saw that gap and decided you weren't going to live there. That's why your evolution feels so jarring to them. It wasn't sudden. You've been growing in plain sight. The only thing that changed is that your growth finally reached a level that exposed their stagnation. They're not just impressed, they're indicted. Every new move you make is a replay of all the moves they never made. Every door you walk through is another reminder of all the doors they blamed on bad luck instead of their own laziness. You didn't just outwork them, you out-honested them. And now, your city is doing what every unprepared environment does when someone outgrows the script. It starts rewriting history in real time. All of a sudden, there are people insisting they always knew you'd be something. They'll swear they saw the signs. They'll talk like they pulled you aside and poured belief into you, when in reality, they barely responded to your messages. You'll hear your own story told back to you, with their names stitched into scenes they were never actually present for. It's hilarious and a little disgusting at the same time. But here's the darkly funny part. You don't even need their correction anymore. You're not on a mission to prove them wrong. Life already did that. All you have to do now is refuse to shrink, to make their guilt feel lighter. Your success is not a weapon you swing at them. It's a mirror they can't put down. They'll either adjust or avoid it. Either way, you keep moving. So what does undiscovered goat their city wasn't ready for look like in practice? It looks like you no longer asking, "Is this too much?" every time you think bigger. It looks like you no longer watering down your ideas to match people who only think in weekends and paydays. It looks like you no longer pretending you're confused about your own gift just because other people are intimidated by it. It looks like you finally admitting to yourself. In plain language, I am that level. I always was. They were just not the right measuring stick. From there, everything starts aligning differently. You start protecting your time, like it's a non-refundable currency. You start choosing who gets access to you based on their character, not their familiarity. You're done giving out lifetime passes just because someone knew a softer version of you. You've retired your willingness to be emotionally underpaid. If someone wants to stand next to you now, they have to match energy, not just history. And trust, people feel that shift. They might not say it out loud, but they adjust. The ones who used to joke about your dreams now measure their words around you. The ones who used to leave you on red now answer fast. The ones who treated your presence like background noise now act like it's premium seating. Your aura didn't suddenly get stronger. They just finally stopped pretending it wasn't there. Not everyone will choose the mature route. Some will double down on their ego instead. They'll try to drag your name into petty schemes, not because you did them wrong, but because being connected to you now, even in a negative way, still gets attention. You'll hear your story told with deliberate omissions, details flipped, intentions twisted. Let them spin. Deep down, they know the truth about how they handled you. That internal replay hits harder than anything you could post. Here's the part that keeps them up at night. Your exit is not going to be dramatic. You're not plotting some loud goodbye where you drag everyone and burn every bridge. You don't need the spectacle. You're just going to quietly stop showing up where you're not valued. And then one day, they're going to look around and realize the timeline feels emptier without you. Conversations feel flatter. Rooms feel duller. Circles feel repetitive. People won't be able to name what's missing, but their nervous system will know. The rare one is gone. And then the question gets louder. Who let this happen? People will turn on each other, not out of love for you, but out of embarrassment. You worked with them and didn't take them seriously. You dated them and didn't believe in them. You were around them every day and never supported. The city that once shrugged at you will start interrogating itself, because no one wants to be the documented clown in the story of the person who left and ascended. You, on the other hand, will be somewhere else, doing what you've always done, showing up, building, refining, evolving. The only difference is that now you'll be surrounded by people who see what you are without needing 3 years of proof. People who hear your ideas and don't flinch. People who don't get triggered by your ambition because they have their own. People who don't need you to shrink so they can feel tall. In those spaces, you won't be the weird one. You'll be home. And here's the real plot twist for your city. Once you settle into that environment and your name starts echoing outside your area code, they're going to try to convert their guilt into ownership. They'll plaster your origin story all over everything, from our city to the world. Raised on our blocks, we always breed greatness, as if they didn't spend years stepping over it, as if your story is proof they were nurturing when really, it's proof you survived. You can still love where you came from and never let it gaslight you. You can acknowledge the streets that made you sharp without pretending they didn't also try to dull you down. You can hold both. At the end of the day, being the undiscovered goat isn't about trying to get everyone to recognize you. It's about recognizing yourself so clearly that you no longer attach your destiny to their awareness. You stop waiting for your city to be ready and start being ready for yourself. You stop trying to find a way to belong where you obviously outgrow the frame. You stop begging people to treat you right and start going where they already know how. So if the streets are talking again, let them. If they're asking, who the fuck let this level of greatness go unnoticed? Let that question torment whoever it needs to. It's not your job to soothe them. It's not your job to rewrite the past, to make anyone feel better about how they handled you. Your work now is simple. Step into the level that their lack of vision tried to delay. Move accordingly, move decisively, move like the version of you that no longer sends reminders about your worth. Because soon, very soon, the conversation is going to shift completely. It won't be, who let them go unnoticed anymore. It'll be, how did we ever think we could afford to? And by then, it'll be too late for them to edit themselves into your journey. The footage is already fully saved in your memory, in your growth, in the timestamps of who stood next to you. When interviews get done, when people ask you, so who believed in you before the world did? You won't have to improvise or pad the list to protect anybody's ego. You'll name the few who showed up and let the empty space around those names do the rest. That's the quiet revenge. not dragging people, never needing to mention them. So let your city wrestle with the fact that they mishandled you. Let them sit with the realization. Let them argue over who always saw it. While the truth sits in the middle of the room, like evidence nobody wants to claim. You were the one they weren't ready for. You were the one they couldn't label, couldn't box in, couldn't downgrade without exposing themselves. And now that everybody finally sees it, your real job is simple. Keep moving like the standard they'll be referencing long after you've left the block.